Hey, it's me, Daniel. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Software Testing. Happy that you're here today. You have seen it in the title. Today I would like to talk about mobile testing types and which are the testing types that you as a mobile tester should know. I cover more than 10 of them in the video, and I will also give you a really cool link for you to download with even more mobile testing types. So make sure to watch the video till the end and let's get started. So why mobile testing still matters. For those of you who are following me for some years now in the testing community and also in my work in mobile testing field, I'm always telling people that mobile users have a really high expectation when it comes to the mobile app quality. I mean, just look at yourself. I think you are doing almost everything with your mobile device, from banking, travel planning, sending messages, taking photos, taking videos, and so forth. And it's really a personal device, and you expect that your data is safe and worked in a good, possible quality way. And this is something that users expect from mobile apps too. Yeah, they expect high quality on their products. So that's why important we as software testers or mobile testers, developers, product managers have to have a really high quality mindset when we're working towards mobile apps. Because the average user, in this case it's average users, opens more than 50 apps per day. That's quite impressive. Some more data. 80% of users delete an app after the first usage because of bad things happen to them, right? Nearly 60% of users will delete an app right after installation that requires a registration, and you don't show the users like what they can expect from the app. If they just see like, okay, I need to sign up yet to another service, I'm too lazy to do so, don't do it. Maybe give them some advice, some onboarding and some information what they can expect from the app, and then put them into registration funnel. Users expect that an app loads under 2 seconds. Yeah, that's impressive. I mean, if the app is running in background, they tap on it and it should open in 2 seconds and should be working. That's something that you have to keep in mind. Speed is important, so non-functional testing is important for mobile apps. And here are the top 4 reasons for deleting an app. First of all, bad design. Users hate bad design. If they cannot use it, they're going to get rid of it. If apps look ugly, they are not using them. Bad usability is really tightly connected for me. For bad design is the usability aspect, because an app has to be usable. In best case with one hand, with one finger, depending on how you're using your product, and also depending on how the product is solving which problem. Games, for example, can be used maybe sometimes with 2 hands and stuff like that. But overall, bad usability is a reason for people to delete an app. Loading time, I'll mention that already before. And app crashes. If a user sees an app is crashing right on installation or right after the first usage, it's a reason for them to just use a competitor app that is out there. And I think there are like more than 2 or 3 million now apps available in the different app stores, or even 4 million. It's easy for users to just go to the competitor with a single or few taps away from the app stores that are pre-installed on the phones. Yeah, so that's something that you have to keep in mind. And that's why I thought like, hey, let's talk about testing types for mobile that you can do in order to get better quality into it. Hey, sorry for the break, but I would like to thank you Moropo for being the main sponsor of today's video. Moropo is your mobile test automation solution to boost your test automation efforts. With one single interface, you can create, plan and execute automated tests with ease for Android and iOS apps. Based on Maestro, Moropo offers powerful features and functions for every mobile tester or mobile developer. The setup takes some minutes and you're ready to start your mobile test automation work. Creating mobile test automation was never easier. On the central web interface, Moropo offers you all the features you need, from setting up different mobile apps to create and execute the tests. Executing your Moropo scripts is super easy. Just create a new test execution. Pick the build that you want to test, then choose the device you want to test on, either iOS or Android devices, and then the scripts that you would like to execute. Then you can see live on Moropo interface the execution of the test. Once the test execution is done, you get a report about the current test run. On each test, you get a detailed overview if the step has passed or not. This is super helpful to start your debugging right from the Moropo interface. On top of all the ad hoc execution, you can also schedule your test runs with Moropo from the interface. Moropo is a great tool for every mobile tester and mobile developer to speed up the development of the mobile testing scripts. So check out the Moropo links down in the video description and give it a try. And now back to the main video. So first of all, functional testing is a no-brainer, right? I mean, test all app changes like normal software. It's software running on a smart device, on a smartphone, on a tablet. Do it accordingly. Whatever you have learned in software testing, do the same things for mobile apps. Use exploratory testing, acceptance criteria testing, use risk-based testing and whatnot, different techniques in order to test the features from a function point of view. As I said here, use risk-based testing to focus on the most important features. Mobile testing requires different testing, and it's coming now, right? So that's why I made the video, because as I said, software testing is still something that you have to perform on mobile apps too, but mobile apps require some more things to do. And first one is compatibility testing. So check your product against the supported platforms. For now, it's only Android and iOS, but if you have like a mobile web product, you also have to check them on different web browsers. Yeah. That's what I meant here. So in case you have a mobile web product, you have to test it on the, on the Chrome, on the Firefox, on Safari, on maybe Brave browsers and others, just to check if your app is running on them. Check for different mobile networks in case you know that your customer is using different carriers, mobile carriers and different network speeds. You also have to check that everything is working smooth as well. And then, of course, check also the different sensors among the devices, especially on Android, for example, if you have different brands, different sensors being used, for example, camera sensors or proximity sensors, and you use that in your product, you have to check the different sensors as well, just to get the best out of your product. Check for different screen sizes. Yes, for sure. Small screen, bigger screens. I mean, now there's a trend of having more bigger screens than smaller ones, but still screen resolution, screen density, and all these kind of topics can impact the layout of your application. Check the local database, for example, also again, in case you have like data saved on a local database on the mobile device. Do some database migration test. See if everything works smoothly once you do like an upgrade to a new database version or a new database architecture. Yeah. Next one, interruption testing. Also something that we all know from our mobile devices. We have the phone and it's ringing, sending notification, push notifications, or anything that can interfere with the interface. So for example, call your test device during the usage and see how the app reacts. Is it going into background? Is it saving the data? Is it saving the process? And also once you hang up the phone, is the app returning and it's there in the same state, still operating, not freezing, nor crashing, nor nothing? Similar to send notifications to the test device and see how it handles it. Press the buttons of the phone during testing. I mean, if your phone has multiple buttons, try to press them all in once in a more chaotic way and see how the interrupt interferes with your app. Also something that you can do is connect and disconnect the device of the charger onto the charger, see what's going to happen there as well, if this has some impact or not. Should not be the case, but you never know. Turn off mobile network while testing, also something that can lead to an interrupt, like in the middle of sending some data. Put plane mode in and see what's going to happen. Switch between running apps, also bring the app to the background, to the foreground, see what's going to happen. Put the device into standby mode and then wake up the device again and see what's going to happen. The next one that I would like to talk about is localization testing. And yeah, if your app supports multiple languages for different regions of the world and different countries, you have to check all of them for sure. And the thing is that you have to check more for design glitches related to longer words, especially if you have a layout. Let's say you have a button and you have, some registration is there. It's maybe different length of the word in different languages, and this can interfere with the layout, something that you have to check as well. Check also that the languages are not mixed, so not like, let's say, like English with France and maybe some German words in between. So this is something that you have to check. And that's basically it for that one. Payment testing is also important for mobile, because we have like all the mobile platforms like iOS and Android have the baked in payment model as well. So Apple in-app or like Apple purchase, also with Android you can also do the Google payment stuff. So use something that you have to check. Also other payment methods like PayPal or others that can be integrated into your product. Yeah. So Test the supported payment methods, important. Check the payment flow, what's going to happen in case you stop the payment flow in between, and how is the transaction being handled. Check that the transaction is secure, encrypted, and being in a safe space. Check that critical data that will be stored on the device is encrypted and not like in, let's say, all your credit card data is stored on a local database with no encryption. That would be bad. Also check for alternative payment methods, as I mentioned, such as PayPal, or some apps also provide crypto payments, what impact it has to your testing activity, something that you have to keep in mind. And last but not least, I think check the payment backend, that the transaction was also successful. In case you have a test payment system up and running, see that the transaction was stored in the backend, and also interrupt the transaction between and see that not any payment has been made and stuff like that. So just for you to keep in mind. And yeah, last but not least, I think that's the last point for that slide, is switch your device, for example, into standby mode, switching it off, see what's going to happen, if the transaction is going to happen or not. Next one is API testing. Yes, super important, because mobile apps rely on APIs. I mean, there might be some apps that are completely ready for offline usage. They don't have a backend, no backend system, no APIs that they're relying on to fetch some data, to send some data. But I would say the majority of apps rely on APIs and rely on backend systems to get some data and to have like a best possible user experience. So that's why API testing is important for us as well as software testers. So we need to check that the API specification is fully implemented, that happy paths are implemented, error cases are implemented. Check that the response codes that we would like to provide with the API are implemented, like 200s, 400s. How do we handle the 500 situation? Are we showing the correct error message to users? Do we give them guidance? Do we give them some next steps so that we don't provide them with like a dead end in the app and stuff like that? Are we going to show like meaningful error message or information messages to them, and not like any like API stack traces or something like that? Yeah. And then, of course, check the API with correct and incorrect data, that everything is working as expected. That's what I meant with happy cases and non-happy cases. Yeah. Check what's going to happen once the API is not responding in time. Something that also can happen if you're in a mobile data network and you have like bad internet connection. What's going to happen? There should be a timeout telling the user like, hey, something is wrong, slow internet connection, please check back later, or we buffer some data and send it in the background in between. Something that is depending on your product. Of course, check for encryption, that everything is being encrypted while it's being sent to the backend, and that's important, and brings me basically to the next topic, which is security testing. I mean, just the very most important thing is here, get help from an expert. Don't try to do all the security testing on your own. I bet you will fail, because security is just such a huge topic, and it can lead to really, really, really bad situations for you, right? So that's why get help from a security expert. What you can do is you can check for basic mobile OWASP risks that are available on the platforms over there. I think I put also the link down in the video description for you to follow up, or use your favorite search engine to search for mobile basic OWASP risks. Something that you can do maybe on your own. But as I said, if you have like sensitive data, payment data in your app, get help from security experts to really be sure that everything is up and running, because otherwise it leads to trouble. Security is a must on mobile device and apps. That's what I wanted to say, because if you handle sensitive data, and this must be secure. Performance testing, yeah, we come back to that one as well. I mean, I mentioned it already also in the introduction that mobile users expect apps to load under 2 seconds, and performance testing in mobile is not easy. Yeah. But apps and APIs must be reliable and fast. That's important. We just expect it as a user. I mean, I'm a user myself. I expect to have a stable environment when I use an app, and fast APIs as well. But performance testing for mobile has basically 3 layers and 3 areas that you can focus on. So first, the app itself that you can performance test with profiling tools within the IDE. The second layer is the mobile data network. Unfortunately, we don't have access to that one, because it's usually like mobile carriers, and also the Wi-Fi configuration settings we can really performance test. So we just have to assume that this is like a stable environment. But the third layer that we can test again is our own backend. So in case you have a backend that is providing, calculating, processing the data for your mobile apps, something that you can performance test as well with any performance testing, load performance testing tool that you would like to know and to use. And then you can test it according to your KPIs and goals to get the best out of it. That's what I already mentioned. Check the profiling tools that are provided already on the IDEs for mobile apps to identify bottlenecks on UI or component level to really narrow it down to specific units and components. And then do the similar thing with the backend, what I just mentioned. And then check for a fast API as well, but that's the stand again in between the app itself and the backend. We can still do some API performance testing, but still you rely on a mobile network or on Wi-Fi. So this is not really in your hands. Yeah, that's what I just mentioned. And last, I'm not sure if it's last. No, I think there are more things to come, but usability testing is also, I think, was the second most reason why people delete an app is bad usability. So what I usually suggest to people is to know the design guidelines for the mobile platforms. They are all online, they're available for you to download, for you to read, to follow up on, to really see like what is the recommended design flow for apps from the platforms like from Apple and Android. Something that you should do. Team up with a UX person to check for usability topics. If you don't have the sense of good usability, talk to somebody in your team to get help and pair it up and do some pair usability testing. You can also involve real customers in early usability testing process. Have maybe a beta program available for your apps. I think I made a video on how to establish a beta program for iOS and Android. Just check my videos, and so that you can involve early real customers in the process. Also something that you can talk to your product manager to get the best out of it. And then, of course, do something like check that UI elements can be reached with one hand, for example, depending on your app use case. This can be a check that you can do. The layout is correct, everything works smooth, the tappable areas are not too tiny, so you can also use it with bigger thumbs and stuff like that. So it's really easy and convenient to use. That's what I meant. Number 10 is update testing. Also something that I have seen many times going really wrong is the updating process. So you have done all your release testing, integration testing, final uploading tests and stuff like that, but you forgot about the update. And there's a lot of stuff that can go wrong. So install the existing release candidate over the running application on the app stores. Yeah. So it's important because in case you have done a database change, database migrations, you have to check that the data is still valid, still working out, it's not crashing, it's not logging out the user and stuff like that, right? That's what I meant. Check for app crashes, really important, because that's the very first experience that users will have after an update. They update the app, or the update is happening in the background overnight and they open it up in the morning and it's crashing. Not cool. Or if they check getting logged out. This is really what I really hate when apps log me out. It's especially after an update. I really hate it. I mean, it's easy with like Face ID and other login mechanisms provided by the platforms, but still it really pisses me off, right? And I hate it. And then for sure check for data inconsistency, that your data that you have entered in depending on the app use case is still valid, still the same, hasn't changed and stuff like that. Yeah. Number 11 is device testing, or aka fragmentation. Yes, it's still a huge topic. It was a bigger topic in Android world some years ago, but still on iOS and Android side we still have fragmentation. Lots of devices that we could potentially cover for our testing activities, but still we have to narrow it down. What I usually suggest is to get to know the devices of your customers. What devices are they using? Get those devices, test on them, happy. You don't need to both worry about any specific exotic device running somewhere in the world. Yeah. Then of course get the devices, maybe buy some devices for the office testing, for manual testing, and then maybe also get some help from cloud providers. That's what I mentioned over here. So use cloud providers maybe for mobile automation, for better scaling, do some exotic testing on a specific device that users start to complaining about, but you don't have too much usage of that device. So there are a lot of tools and providers out there that can help you in order to tackle the fragmentation. But I always recommend people to test on real devices. Don't do the testing on manual testing on emulators or simulators. That's not the environment where customers will use the product. Get a real device. And also don't rely completely on cloud providers, because you always have a lag in between, right? I mean, and also the one thing that is that's really not the same thing is, if you use the mobile, the real device on a cloud, you still control it with a mouse or with a keyboard or whatever. And this is not the same pattern as you will use with your fingers later on. Multi-gestures and stuff like that. Nothing that you can test really good and really well with a keyboard. So that's why get a real device. And that's basically it. These were like 11 testing types for mobile that you can cover, or that you should cover, depending on your use case. And that's what I meant before. I created some years ago the mobile testing cheat sheet, and it has more than 20 specific app types to check. And you can get a free copy of that cheat sheet. That's how it looks like. I think it's not completely well framed. I think I also made a video about my cheat sheet some years ago, but you can go to the video description down below to get the PDF version for free. Use it, extend it. Let me know if there is something missing, something wrong, something outdated, but it's pretty helpful for you to get an idea like what potentially can be tested on a mobile application. And some cheesy marketing. If you would like to learn more about mobile testing, you can also get my book, Hands-on Mobile App Testing, where I basically explain everything from where the mobile device is coming from to how to release a mobile product, how to test it efficiently. You can get the book on Amazon or on Leanpub, depending if you would like to have a real book or an ebook. Check it out, links in the video description. And that's what the video for today. Let me know in the comments below what kind of app types or mobile testing types are you performing on a regular basis, and what is something that you never have done before. Would love to hear about it. As always, like it, share it and subscribe it. Thanks for coming by today. Have a great day and see you soon.